Today we're doing a deep dive into a piece of hardware that, well, usually lives its entire life completely unnoticed, right above your head.
Yeah, invisible by design, really.
Exactly. We've got the spec sheet here for the Kramer Galil 8CW. It's an 8-inch two-way closed-back ceiling speaker. And honestly, for something meant to be invisible, the engineering specs we're looking at are surprisingly dense.
It's that classic paradox of commercial audio. I mean, if the engineering is actually doing its job, you don't notice the speaker at all. You just notice that the room sounds, natural.
Right.
But getting that natural sound up in a standard ceiling grid is a massive physics challenge.
It really is. And looking at the driver configuration here, Kramer didn't just throw a paper cone in a bucket and call it a day. This is a coaxial setup.
Yeah, you've got that 8-inch polypropylene woofer for the lows, and then
Right in the middle.
exactly that 1-inch silk dome tweeter mounted right on the axis.
The silk dome is actually the detail that caught my eye first.
Oh, for sure. In a lot of commercial paging speakers, you mostly see Mylar or PEI tweeters because they're cheap and they're durable,
Yeah.
but they can sound really harsh.
Brittle, almost.
Right. So using silk suggests they're prioritizing actual musicality, not just, basic voice intelligibility for announcements.
It definitely softens that high-end response, and since it's coaxial, you're getting that point source dispersion.
Which means you don't have those weird phase issues shifting around as you walk beneath it.
Right, which is critical when you consider the coverage angle. The specs list 110-degree coverage area.
Right. If those drivers weren't aligned coaxially, the frequency response would sound completely different depending on if you were standing directly under it or, say, 5 feet to the left.
But with this design, that off-axis response stays totally consistent.
And that consistency brings us perfectly to the closed-back design.
Yeah, the fact that it comes with a specific built-in metal back can. I mean, from doing home installs, I know open back or infinite baffle speakers just use the wall cavity as the box, but that seems super risky in a commercial ceiling.
Oh, it's a total nightmare in commercial spaces.
Because you have no idea what's actually up there.
Exactly. You've got insulation, HVAC pipes, massive open voids. If you used an open back, the bass response would just be wildly unpredictable.
Ah, so the metal back can creates a tuned, fixed enclosure.
Precisely. It guarantees the speaker actually hits that 65 hertz low-end rating no matter what the building's internal structure looks like.
Plus, it solves the bleed issue. I mean,
Yeah.
You don't want the private boardroom meeting leaking through the plenum space into the office next door.
Yeah, it completely isolates the sound pressure.
Now, moving to the power handling, this is where the real utility aspect of this thing kicks in. We're looking at a multi-tap power transformer.
The unsung hero of commercial audio right there.
Truly. It gives you the option to bypass it for standard 8 ohms, but the real workhorse setting here is the 70-volt or 100-volt line.
Right. That's the absolute industry standard for scalable arrays. You aren't running thick home theater speaker wire. You're running high voltage lines.
To daisy chain, what, 20 or 30 of these things together?
Easily. Across an entire airport terminal or a huge retail store.
And the tap variance is pretty wide on the J-Lail. You can tap it anywhere from 4 watts all the way up to 64 watts.
That flexibility is just huge for system integrators.
Because they can mix and match.
Exactly. You can put one speaker in a quiet hallway, tap to 4 watts, and then put the exact same model in a noisy main lobby tapped at 64 watts.
All on the very same amplifier channel.
Right, you balance the room volume right at the speaker level, not the amp level.
And it handles 64 watts RMS that the continuous program rating pushes up to 180 watts. That is a significant amount of headroom for a ceiling can.
It really is. And that gap between RMS and continuous program is vital. It means the system can handle dynamic peaks, like a sudden swell in the background music, or a loud alarm without clipping the signal.
Or completely overheating the voice coil.
Right. It keeps the audio totally clean, even when the volume spikes.
Of course, all of this premium audio doesn't mean anything if the fire marshal fails the building inspection.
The ultimate deal breaker.
Yep. The spec sheet heavily highlights UL 1480 and specifically UL 2043 approvals.
The plenum rating.
No.
That is absolutely non-negotiable for commercial installs.
Because these sit up in the air return space.
Right, the plenum. They simply cannot be a fire hazard. If a fire starts, you really don't want your audio system acting as fuel.
Or releasing toxic fumes into the ventilation system.
Precisely. UL 2043 certification basically tells the inspector, hey, this device won't burn rapidly or smoke out the building.
It really shifts the speaker from being just an audio component to being a compliant piece of building infrastructure.
It's a fascinating intersection of disciplines when you look at it. On one hand, you have silk domes and polypropylene prioritizing high fidelity.
And on the other hand, you have heavy-duty transformers and fire-rated steel cans for pure safety.
Right. The Kramer Galil 8CW is basically satisfying both the audiophile and the safety inspector simultaneously.
It acknowledges that commercial sound doesn't actually have to sound like a cheap megaphone.
It connects those dots perfectly.
So, a final thought to leave you with. Next time you're walking through a department store or sitting in an office lobby, take a quick second to look up.
It's definitely not just a white plastic grill.
No, it's really not. There is a deeply complex calculation of voltage, impedance, fire safety, and acoustic dispersion happening right above your head just to pipe that background music in.
Changes how you hear the room, doesn't it?
Sure does. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.